Welcome to Better Together.
A place where we dive deep into everyday subjects.
We are your hosts, Julian
and Carolina, two psychologists that travel the world and are very excited about the whole human experience.
So without further ado, let's dive into the episode. Hello and welcome to a new episode of Better Together. And today we're going to talk about gratitude.
Yes, and it's going to be fun because we like gratitude a lot now. But there was a time where we thought it was the most stupid thing that humans had come up with. And we'll walk you through our reasoning. We will trash gratitude as our best versions of our past selves. And then afterwards, we'll circle back to why did we change our mind and how has this affected our life? So to start, gratitude is this act of thinking. Just thinking of something that you appreciate and thanking it. And it's a feeling that you get for that thing being in your life. It could be a thing, it could be a person, it can be a situation. And it's just a feeling of thankfulness. That's how I would define gratitude. How would you define?
Yeah, essentially it is. I think I like the idea that you put it as an act, at least the way we talk about it today, sort of an act of gratitude. Doing it intentionally, like saying, okay, there was something today was very great that I appreciated. And so then really just imagining it and feeling what it feels like that you're happy that this is in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really, essentially like being thankful for something that's in your life that happened.
Yeah. And for the longest time, I thought that was the most fluffy-duffy, rainbow-farty, stupid thing that any human could come up with. It was just a complete the spice of this thing. It was like a visceral feeling of disliking gratitude. I thought
that extreme.
Yeah. And everybody was talking about gratitude and the scientific proof of gratitude. And I was like, oh my God, that's just so silly. You know, how are so many people suspended in this trance of yeah, it's the corniest thing in the world. And I couldn't just make a place in my heart for it. I couldn't. I never gave it a fair shot. And like the times that I tried gratitude, I felt so stupid, as if I was wearing a clown costume in a business meeting. It was ridiculous. That's how it felt. Now I would be happy to wear a clown costume in a business meeting. I would like to be the pattern interrupt. But in that past self, gratitude had a very neglected space in my heart. And there was a lot of reasoning behind it. I could actually pinpoint maybe 10 reasons why this was the worst idea ever. I remember just a couple.
Yes, please mention them.
But I will tell them. I thought that when you're grateful for something, you are separate from that something. So it's basically destroying the principle of unity in metaphysics or like in spirituality, that we're all one. So if I'm thinking something, then I am separating myself from it, hence creating more of a distance and not working towards spirituality and unity, but rather against it. That was one argument. Great. Solid. Another argument that I found is that it was posh or self-righteous. That you, by the act of thinking, you were putting yourself higher. Because I am in a position to think. this thing. I am the big, you are the small. You did me a good, and then I thank that. And it's crazy that I thought that way. But yeah, those are the ones that I remember most profusely, that it was an egoistic or like full of ego act of, I'm so superior that I thank you, my little whatever thingy. Peasant situation or person. And I think this comes from my family, because there's this underlying belief, even if it's not explicit, that one doesn't say sorry and one doesn't say thank you. Like, my parents are like that. They're like, you just take everything for granted and things are the way they are. And maybe that's another thing. It's just, when you're thinking, you're killing off neutrality. Like, things are what they are. It is what it is. As my dad would say, always. So by thinking, you're just making it a bigger deal, or you're just transmuting it into a fluffy cloud of something that doesn't mean anything.
Okay, there's a lot.
Right? Like, it just like, do you feel it too on the other side of the mic? It's like this contraction around gratitude. It was such an impediment to, like, for me to see, like, because I had those ideas and I would use this logical in quotes arguments in order to justify that I thought that was stupid. And I was very convinced that this was the truth. And it was the truth for me back then. And it was rooted in this absolute rejection to the term.
Okay. Let me give my perspective now on it. That's one, and probably some will feel a little bit connected to that. Maybe some will feel connected to what I will share. So for me, it was, I think I really first got to know the concept of gratitude, or that could be a practice, in my studies in psychology. And I was indifferent to it. It was like, yeah, okay, studies found that this might be helpful for so many areas, might be a universal tool. All the ancient religions and whatever found that as an important part of the life and of the attitude that you should have to life. And I was just dismissing it as of like, okay, research found it, great. I'm not integrating that. I just don't need that, right? Why would it be helpful in any way? That was sort of more my perspective. I was just like, yes, okay, stuff found it helpful, but for me it was just like, yeah, I think it might be, but why would I do this every day, or why would I integrate it at all? And then I was just like dismissing it and forgetting about it. That was essentially my perspective. So I wasn't triggered with it or something weird. It was just putting it to the side.
Yeah, because I think it's such a common thing that you can overlook it very easily. Like, it's there. And people say, just keep a gratitude journal. Just be grateful for what you have and you will get more of that. And things like that. And it's just so all over Instagram posts and YouTube videos and every psychology strategy ever, that you're like, yeah, whatever. It's a given. It's like breathing. It's, yeah, I don't care. Like, it's obvious.
Yeah, what is going to change if I just say, okay, thank you that I have food or whatever? And it's true, nothing will change if you do it that way.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to say, I was a bit shaken in my perception of gratitude when I met you. Because...
Okay, that's new to me. Tell me.
Yes. Because you had this way of being that was naturally thankful, even if you didn't realize. Like, I would share with you something very deeply personal and that would move me. And then you would be like, thank you for sharing, with a genuine thank you for sharing. And I was feeling so held by that I was like, that's such a great thing. I'll start doing that. I'll start thanking people for sharing, for being brave, for opening up, because that's something I want to reinforce. I love when people open up in a safe space, and usually the places that I'm in are relatively safe. So yeah, you open up the perspective of being thankful for the other person doing something that in my family would have been like, well, you have to do it. Fuck you. Well, not like that always. But it's like, thank you, Mom, for cooking dinner. I started doing that a lot more. Thank you, Dad.
I noticed when I did that the first couple of times with your mom, just like thanking you for dinner or something, she was like thrown off and like, oh yeah, okay.
It's obvious.
Yeah, okay. Like that was all. She didn't know how to deal with that. That was interesting.
Yeah. But thanking for things that are normal, and like in my house, it was just taken for granted, actually created quite a shift. Like, and I can see how it does to them what it did to me. It's like, weird. Why are you doing this? This doesn't belong here. It's introducing a unicorn in a conversation about accounting, but it's still cute. You know, it's like, it's nice. It feels warm, and you feel seen when somebody is grateful, genuinely grateful for you, for something that you did, or seeing you. Yeah. So that's how I started to shift my perception. But then, I don't know, my stubborn ass didn't want to let go of this perception that it was stupid. But
for me also, like as a daily practice or continuously doing that sounded really ridiculous, because just as, you know, I thank people when, I don't know, when there was a good thing that I did. I thank food. That's a very easy one for me. But that's about it, you know, should be fine. And yeah, then I guess at some point it changed very drastically for us.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it doesn't matter like to go really into detail, but basically the root of it was a psychedelic experience for both of us. And after that we were like, oh my God, how could we not do this every single day? As a matter of really noticing how we feel, like shifting the energy of bringing up this really positive vibe from the inside out. And yeah, I guess since then, literally since that day, we do it every single day, at least once, that we take, I don't know, 5-10 minutes and really go through the day and thank for whatever happened there.
Yeah. It was a radical shift. I always heard that saying of whatever you think you get more of, or whatever you put your attention to, you get more of. And I didn't understand that until that psychedelic trip, where when I was shown something beautiful, I would be, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I would be feeling it, and then that would expand whatever vision I was having. And I could see it in action and create this memory in my body of how it was to be truly grateful, and have that feedback, immediate feedback, that whatever I'm thinking becomes more of. It's the same way, like it can go to the dark side, right? That you can go down a negative rabbit hole and be like, I'm shit, I'm not worth it. I never know what to do. I'm doubtful. I'm useless. All of these things that one can go into and just spiral down and go more into the darkness. Whereas if you start with thank you, thank you, thank you. And you feel the thank you. It starts to create this bubble inside it. It's like, wow, a bubble. No, maybe not a bubble, but like this sort of ball of gratitude that just expands from a small spark to that big fire that is burning in your heart. So that was the experience that triggered it. And then I realized how important it was. And after that day, I started being more thankful, noticing the blessings in my life. And by blessings, I don't mean like anything religious or anything, but things that are really, really good and we don't see them. We just take them for granted. Like having internet, having food, having a roof over your head, having electricity, having a bunch of things that we think, oh, it's obvious. No, it wasn't obvious for the first 8 billion years of Earth. No, I don't think it's that old. But
it's older.
It's older?
Yes, it's like 13 billion years. At least the universe, I don't know.
No, the universe. But the Earth, I don't remember. But let's say that she's old.
She pretty old.
And then we just came in the last stretch. And even in the last stretch that humans have been around, let's say 400,000 years, then it's just been, 100 years since we have electricity? Roughly. So the chances of us having the privilege that we have are very slim. And we don't see it because we take it for granted. It's day-to-day stuff. But the moment that you tune into the gratitude of the time that you're living in and the things that you have that were very difficult before and now they're a given, is not to be overlooked. Because if we overlook these things, we might fall into the trap of thinking that we're miserable or that we don't have it good.
Because we are so good at finding the things to improve or the negative parts. That's what our brain is trained for, right? That's the natural sort of gravity that our brain tends to protect us, to make us safe, actually, right? To improve the things that are not going well, or just always look out for the thing that could potentially kill us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's so important, I think, to bring in gratitude to balance that out. That we really see what is actually also going right in our lives. Because otherwise we just tend to go to the negative, which is the normal for now. And bringing back gratitude into the life just balances that out and shows us how good it is right now. We're alive. We have some people that we trust. We have some people that help us in some way or the other. We have food, otherwise we won't be here either. Some clean water to drink. The internet, otherwise you couldn't hear that. Like a device that is so powerful that hasn't been invented like 10 years ago. It's so crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And for all these things, it's not just, I think here becomes really the important part. It's not just about understanding cognitively that this is something to be thankful for. I'm not saying you should be thankful now and you do it just because I said it, but because you feel it.
Exactly.
And I think that's the huge differentiation. That all the things that I had before with the gratitude exercise, I was like, yeah, I can write down, yeah, this is great. I have parents, I have a house, a job, whatever. Yes, great.
Yeah, it's rational. And it's almost guilt-tripping you because it's like, you should be thankful about this because other people don't have it.
Yeah.
So appreciate it. And it comes from the wrong place when we do it that way. And, but I remember my mom would say something like, because I would say something bitchy, like, I don't, when I was little, very little, like, I was angry because my mom wouldn't give me candy or something, like something terrible and world ending. And I was like, well, other moms are not like this. And then my mom was like, well, there's children that don't have moms. And I was like, wow, it does. And I think that those things make an impact. It's like, you are thankful for food because there's people that don't have food. You're thankful for electricity because there's a time because there wasn't electricity, or there's people that don't have electricity. And it's not like that. You're thankful because you feel gratitude for having that in your life, because that enhances somehow your life. And it's a feeling. It's not a rational process, because I'm even thankful for the bad things that happen. I'm thankful when I get sick. When I get sick, I'm like, thank you, illness, for making me slow down, for showing me that this part of myself could be better, for showing me my weaknesses, for making me step back and contemplate my life from a different angle. I'm thankful when something bad happens in a relationship, and I'm like, thank you for teaching me how to have a deeper level of compassion, how to show up as a higher version of myself. And all of this situations can be seen as this opportunity for gratitude, because it doesn't necessarily everything have to be perfect and great in order for you to thank it, but it has to have an impact in you. And that's how I practice gratitude, is anything that is transforming me and taking me on a place of more authenticity, on a path of more authenticity, and to get to know myself better. I'm grateful for that. And that can be the internet, that can be artificial intelligence, that can be a person, that can be a challenge. So it's a very grounded feeling of, I'm here to learn, I'm here to experience. Thank you.
I don't know, just by talking about this feeling of gratitude comes up, and it just creates a very different energy than to the other podcasts that we already had, and some were like a bit felt a bit contracted, and just talking about this thing of gratitude just opens up so much, because it was such a help in our life already.
Mm-hmm.
And
do you want to say how do we apply it?
Yes, exactly. That was what I was going for. Thank you for reading my mind. So now, after we, I guess, sold it to you, after we told you our story of how we didn't like it at the beginning, is now, okay, how do we actually implement it and use it in our day-to-day? And I think the basic, what we do every single day, is that right before we go to bed, we go through the day and find the things that we are grateful for. That can be literally anything, but it sort of has to give us either a little smile in our face, or this feeling in our body, in our heart, in our belly, that's like, okay, this warm, fuzzy feeling of like, oh, thank you, that was great, like a genuine feeling. And then we just go through it. It can be like for the food, for a person that we met, for the AC when it's super hot, for other things, right? It can be a lot of different things. And again, the most important thing is that you feel this warm, fuzzy feeling within your body, a little smile on your face, whatever it is. And I think a big part that it does, it really shifts the perspective from the day, however you would usually frame your day, was good or bad or whatever, it doesn't matter. But it helps to just highlight the things that you really enjoyed, the things that you really see in a positive light. And with that, just suddenly your whole day becomes good, because you remember intentionally things that were going well.
Yeah.
And that is so powerful. Like, don't underestimate the change of that energy towards that feeling of gratitude, or the positive vibe.
Mm-hmm. Additionally, I would say in the morning, I think. And at the end of my meditation, this is how I start my day. So I do my yoga, I do my meditation. And at the end of the meditation, the last thing I do is to say thank you around 50 times or something in that ballpark. And I don't say it necessarily towards something. I just say thank you, so I get used to the feeling of thankfulness, of gratitude, because I don't necessarily attach anything to it. It's more like just the feeling, the warmth in my heart. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And like I feel it like almost like this palpitating emotion of like gratitude invading my body. And as I do it and do it and do it, it feels like it gets bigger and more grounded. And then the moment that I finish thinking and I get off my mat and start my day, I am bubbly, I'm ready to get started, and I love my life already because I'm so blessed and so thankful for having everything so good for having such a good life. And yeah, in some cases, like today, I had awful dreams at night, and I woke up feeling tired and worn out, and nothing worked, and I lost the bus, and then I had a big box I needed to take somewhere, and I was in the bus, and then it fell apart, and I needed to get all the things together, and it wasn't working, and people weren't helping, and I was like, I woke up like really feeling down. And after my yoga, my meditation, and my gratitude, I was a new person. I was happy. I was ready for the day. And I was like, well, even if that were to happen, even if I had to move this big box and it would fall apart and I would have to do it all by myself, I can do it with a different attitude than what I had in the dream. So then it was sort of this coming back to a good feeling. And we get to choose if we want to have more of that feeling in our life. It's possible to bring it to the forefront if we want to. So that's why a gratitude practice is fantastic. And to get it to practice, like maybe to ground it now, we can end with a little bit of a gratitude situation.
True. Oh, one thing I would still like to add before is I don't do it daily or regularly right now, but it really helps me to also write it down. I get a lot easier this feeling of being really grateful for it when I write it down, when I imagine that situation, that person, that thing, and like try to imagine how it makes me feel that I have this in my life. But when writing down, I'm a lot more focused and really, really notice it. Mm-hmm. So feel free to try it out with journaling as well, like writing those things down. Doesn't have to literally just 3 minutes, writing those things down shortly, visualize and imagine it, and then it might be easier for you.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be about things that you have already. It could be about the things that you had, or it could be things that you're looking forward to bringing into your life.
Experiences that you had.
Yeah. Anything.
It doesn't matter the thing.
It's about the feeling. It's like what brings the gratitude feeling in your heart. Just like bring that forth. And the more you have that, your life just gets enhanced. It's like having all the vitamins and minerals that you need in order for your body to be healthy. Like this brings a boost. It's like a big bowl of protein, vitamins, minerals, and all good electrolytes, things that you need to be healthy. So that's why it helps.
Okay, let's jump into the exercise then.
Yes. So you were born a long time ago, and you have traveled a journey from being a completely vulnerable baby that didn't know how to do anything to being a full functioning adult. And to get to where you are at, there was a lot happening. There were people holding your hand while you were learning to walk. There were people teaching you letters, how to write, how to read. There were books that you read. And there were friends that you discussed stuff with. You cried and you bumped against things and you laughed and you experienced so many things throughout your lives. Humans were a huge part of it. There were humans assisting you, either by giving you a helping hand or by challenging. So let's just take a moment to think of those humans that have influenced your life and have gotten you to where you're at. Those humans that rooted deeply for you, that hold you in their heart, and you hold them in yours. Thank you for teachers, for friends, for family. Thank you for the teachings. And thank you for making me who I am. And now, hopefully, you feel some sort of gratitude towards people or experiences or life itself. And you can connect with what it feels like to be grateful. To have this feeling running through you. And how it enhances who you be in this moment. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to another episode of Better Together. Hope to be with you again next week. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.